back, everybody. It's been a long week. This is Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure we're all very happy out at the beach during this wonderful quarantine.
I'm excited.
But as you can see, we're trying something different. If you go on YouTube at the Acquaintance Podcast, you can see all of our absolutely fucking beautiful faces hanging out inside during the Woo Flu.
Beautiful is a
Memorial
stretch.
Day weekend. Yeah.
Woo flu?
The Woo Flu.
I mean,
I get it, but like... Alright,
I'm going to mostly agree with you. It has been a long week. Well, for me, it hasn't because I had to work yesterday, so it kind of sucked. But on the plus side, I still get a weekend because it's a 3-day weekend.
Oh shit, we're allowed to show knees?
Okay, well, if anyone's watching, you will see why we are kind of stunned. We have someone new today that has not been on the podcast yet. Anthony, if you would like to introduce yourself.
I'm Anthony, and I am a content.
And
Acquaintance for about...
Okay, yeah,
Hello?
sure.
Well,
But yeah, for those who are listening, Anthony hiked his leg up into the air like a dog. And it kind of took us all by surprise, which we shouldn't be, because this is very typical Anthony behavior. So.
I was honestly more surprised by Jeffrey's spread eagle.
that also happened. So, what have you guys been up to this week?
Jeffrey, you've been watching a new series. You want to talk about that?
I've been catching up on things I'm behind on and watching things I've never seen before. The big hits right now are I've caught up on Rick and Morty season 4. I think it's really funny because the Amazon description of it. The Amazon description of it says, like, listen, people wanted us to make this quicker than we wanted to, so it's just not as good, so just put up with it. And, like, it's not as good. It's still funny, but, like, it's also just not as well put together as the first 3 seasons.
I haven't seen any of it.
That's funny.
It's okay. It's, like, not bad. There's some good stuff in it. It's just, there's nothing that's, like, I don't know. It's fun. There's Matthew Broderick is in it for a little bit as a talking cat, you know.
Alrighty.
Alright.
Well.
Flow.
How does it compare to Solar Opposites?
Solar Opposites, I actually enjoyed the first season of Solar Opposites more than season 4 of Rick and Morty. There's still 2 episodes left of Rick and Morty. There's actually on Amazon a little bonus thing where they did like a 5 to 6 minute like anime Rick and Morty thing, and that was one of the coolest things I've seen like, out of all of Rick and Morty.
Neat.
It's listed as season 4 episode 100 if you're interested. But I also finally started Avatar: The Last Airbender. I've never seen I've never seen it. But like it's available on Netflix, and I've got the time. And that was like always the 2 conflicting things. Like I didn't watch it when it was on TV, and then I no longer had TV. And then like when it was available to me to watch, I didn't have the time, and when I had the time, it wasn't available. So, but now they both coincided.
Right.
I didn't realize they caught good old Aang in the 2nd episode. Quick series. Don't know why I put it off for so long. Really just nip that one in the bud. And then today I finished I watched The Blade Runner by Ridley Scott.
The original,
cut, which was the 2000. Okay, so well, yes, the original. Well, okay, the one from the 80s, the one with Harrison Ford, like not the Ryan Gosling.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'd never seen it. But there are 7 different cuts of this movie, and I've only seen the final cut, which is the one Ridley Scott had total creative control over. So,
neat.
I hated it.
Oh, really?
I did not like that movie.
Speaking of final cuts of movies that people hated and directors having full control, did you see the news about Zack Snyder?
Oh yes.
So
yeah.
Zack Snyder is releasing the Snyder Cut of Justice League on HBO Max.
God, I don't know how much you can improve that movie because it was hot garbage. When I watched it, I thought it was hot garbage.
According to, of course, this is all speculation. We don't really know for sure until we see the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder has said he has not seen the Justice League movie. He has not seen it. And through him speaking and other interviews that he's done, it seems like what we got was actually mostly Joss Whedon. It was not mostly Snyder. They did a ton of reshoots, and probably a good at least 2/3 of the movie is Joss Whedon and not Snyder.
Well, there's an ongoing theory that Snyder's Justice League cut included the Martian Manhunter and the Green Lantern.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're just not in the Justice League movie. So
they're gonna have to completely reshoot the climax, completely reshoot most of the story leading up to it.
So it's gonna cost roughly $40 million to finish the Snyder Cut, but HBO Max has approved it, and Zach was like, "Yeah, sure." So, are you aware of why Zack Snyder left, quote unquote, the shooting? Are you aware of what happened?
No.
I really during the shooting of the film, Zack Snyder actually lost his daughter. And
that's right.
So,
I forgot about that.
He had a really tragic loss of his daughter, and it's speculation on whether or not it was mutual separation, but long story short, he left the project, and that's when they brought in Joss Whedon, because he basically wanted to mourn the loss of his daughter without having to be on set for 16, 17 hours a day. He wanted to be with his wife, his family, and all that. But that's why he left. Supposedly. Now, there's a lot of speculation behind it, but you had mentioned Ridley Scott having complete control, and I was like, hey, that reminded me of the news that I heard this week. So,
right.
It just, I have not seen the Justice League movie, so I have literally zero input on this.
It's bad. I saw it. It was bad.
But it's. I think of the DC films that have been released in the past 10 years, I think it's mid-tier, because it's nowhere near as bad as Suicide Squad, but it's nowhere near as good as
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
It's like right there.
I just don't like DC movies. I feel like the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy just ruined it for me. Because those are so good.
They are.
So good compared to everything else that's been put out. Because Batman v Superman, trash. Wonder Woman, good.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's on the high tier. When's the new Wonder Woman movie coming out? Did that get delayed?
It's supposed
to come out in last month.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out I think this month. I think early May, I think is what it was. But it's been pushed back. I believe
numbers are not promising.
Yeah. I believe it's been pushed back to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Something like that.
November, I was interested in seeing
that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but
movie.
I
like Jason Momoa.
The only DC movie I have seen is Wonder Woman, and I have seen Batman v Superman, and of course Man of Steel. I've seen Man of Steel as well. But outside of that, I never saw Shazam. I heard Shazam was actually pretty decent. Never saw Aquaman. Aquaman had really good reviews.
Shazam looked pretty good. I didn't want to see Aquaman.
Yeah.
Even though I like Jason Momoa, I just didn't tickle my fancy.
Right. I get that. But
I really think that the superhero genre is on a decline. We talked about it last week in our Western week.
Right. But
they can't keep milking this cash cow for much longer.
It's going to decline, and we've already kind of seen that a little bit. I mean, I don't think there's near as much hype for the upcoming Marvel movies as there was, for of the Avengers. After you hit Avengers Endgame, it's like
they shot their wad. It's done.
Well, the thing is, right now the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in a weird in between where like the old guard is out, but they're not ready to put in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four yet.
Yeah.
Because they've said X-Men and Fantastic Four are coming, but they're saying like Phase 5, and like we're just starting Phase 4.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, no, they still have the Thor: Love and Thunder movie, which I'm really excited about because after seeing Ragnarok, I really started to like the Thor movies because it was just exponentially better than the first two.
Who was it?
Seriously.
Who was it that just got cast as the villain for Love and Thunder? Was it Love and Thunder?
Christian Bale.
That's right. It was Christian Bale. I was like, I know it's someone huge. That's like, oh my gosh. People were like, hell yeah.
So there's that, and then they have one more Guardians of the Galaxy.
And the one I'm actually most excited for is Multiverse of Madness with Strange and Scarlet Witch. That one I think is actually going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Which I believe that's the one they're closing. Aren't they closing Phase 4 with that one?
I don't know, since they shifted everything around, because they've also got.
I think I'm pretty. Yeah.
The Eternals movie and like you know, but
well,
like, the thing is about those two movies is like when like Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man were announced, everyone was like, I don't give a crap, and they ended up being like amazing movies.
Yeah.
So like,
Ant-Man has been my favorite Avenger. Like since the cartoons were out when we were kids, Ant-Man was always my favorite. So when they announced that, and I love Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's freaking great.
Oh my god, I just that series is just incredible. The Ant-Man and the Wasp, incredible.
Yeah.
They're just so goddamn funny.
Ant-Man's the movie I've seen the most in theaters. I saw Ant-Man in theaters 5 different times.
Holy crap!
The mention of Paul Rudd. Did y'all see the Ghostbuster thing?
Ghostbuster thing.
The new Ghostbusters is coming out.
Wait, like the is there like a newer thing or?
Yeah, it's got Paul Rudd, and then it's got the male lead from Stranger Things.
Finn Wolfhard.
Finn Wolfhard. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
interesting.
I got so there's like things about the new Ghostbusters, the Afterlife, I think is what it's called, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
I think so.
That sounds right.
They pushed it back a year. Well, Sony pushed everything back a year.
Yeah.
Sony was just like, everything, we're just not going to do any of it because the new Venom movie was supposed to come out in in the
October.
fall. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Is it Venom Absolute Carnage? Is that
it's gonna have Woody Harrelson as Carnage.
I'm actually so excited for that. Woody Harrelson is the perfect loose end, freaking wild character to throw into Carnage.
I was in the minority. I loved Venom.
I did too. I thought it was
okay.
great.
It was okay. I didn't hate it by any stretch. I love Tom Hardy.
It was just a buddy cop movie.
Had one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos ever at the very end, where Stan Lee like says something to Eddie Brock, and then Venom's in his head saying like, "Who was that? Why was that guy there?" And it was just it was just like a neat little like nod and wink. But super stoked for that. Well, and then the Ghostbusters thing, like, because like Paul Rudd, I remember when I remember he announced it, because he announced it by going to the Ghostbusters firehouse in New York, and like all he did was like hold the selfie, and then he turned around and the firehouse was behind him, and then he was like, and like that was his announcement. I think.
That's cool.
I love his personality.
It's very Paul Rudd, yeah.
His first film, fun fact, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
That's so unfortunate.
It's so bad.
I really like him in Wet Hot American Summer.
I've never seen that. I've heard
that is so good.
Isn't it like a cult classic now, isn't it?
It's a nostalgia trip.
Too. Yeah.
It's like it's one of those I can't, like a Porky's or a Kentucky Fried Movie. I'm saying movies that are older. Never mind. Never mind. I'm thinking I'm talking to like my parents or something. Where oh, it's like Porky's, and they're just like, okay.
Like, huh? What?
It's almost like I don't know, like the Sandlot meets Dirty Dancing. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but it kind of gives me that vibe.
Okay.
Where it's got some fun childish moments, but also like some really raunchy humor.
Okay. Were you going to say something, Anthony?
Personally, my favorite thing about Paul Rudd is every time he'd go on Conan, Play that little clip that there's an alien or some shit.
Mac and Me. It's a movie called Mac and Me.
It's that
I've never heard of it.
I'm doing that. It's hilarious.
I was gonna say I've never heard of it, so
I've never heard of it either. I gotta look it up now.
it's called Mac and Me.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's not the important part. But like, yeah, it's Conan. Like he's been on Conan every time he goes on Conan. I think every time he has a new movie, he goes on Conan, right? And like he shows the trailer,
something like that. But every time it's the trailer,
and every time he shows the trailer, it cuts to the same scene in Mac and Me, and it's a pretty notorious scene of a kid in a wheelchair being pushed off of a cliff.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Oh no!
and Conan falls for it every single time. Paul Rudd sells it. He says, "Nah, we're not. I'm in the Marvel movies now. I'm in the big leagues. I'm not going to do that." And it's like, here's the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it'll start, and then it'll cut to the kid going, and then Conan's just like, it's
gets him every time. That's hilarious. I need to look that up because so it's Conan, Mac and Me, Paul Rudd. Okay.
Yes.
Conan, Mac and Me, Paul Rudd. Okay.
The movie Mac and Me also, fun fact, was a little cash in on the E.T. movies. There was a lot of those in the 80s, where people would just make cute alien movies. And Mac and Me got brand endorsements where the aliens were actually healed by like Coke and McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Oh wow!
And it's a treat. It's a treat for the whole family.
I love like really blatant comical product placement.
Yeah.
Like I love how in The Walking Dead they end up with like a new Kia every season. Or something like that. Like that model Kia just wasn't in production when the world ended. It's like 8 years later, and they're driving.
It's like, oh, good thing we got this prototype.
Product placement.
I think,
and then there's in Death Stranding, they have all the monsters. In game where you just sit there and eat like 15, 20 monsters at a time, like when you're at your home base.
What?
Yeah, it's like a thing. I think it was in Donkey's review. He just sat there. He had like 6 monsters and then pissed.
Oh yeah.
Is in Cabin in the Woods. Several of the monsters are zombies from the Left 4 Dead franchise.
Love it, yeah. Because the witch is in there. The whatever the boomer is in there, and I think the spitter, the one with the tongue.
I think, yeah. And because the Left 4 Dead 3, remember that? Remember when people were asking for was supposed to have like Cabin in the Woods levels and stuff. But
that would have been so cool. Yeah. Oh man.
I remember Left 4 Dead 2, I think, had a Teletubbies mod where it turned all like the base zombies into these giant, horrific neon green, pink, and yellow Teletubbies with these like black, soulless eyes. The textures would clip through the walls, so it was like you had wall hacks on.
SCP shit. I love Cabin in the Woods. It was recommended to me because I thought I would love it, but the group of people I've shown it to has been either between I love this movie or I hate this movie.
I love it.
But it was Chris Hemsworth's first movie.
Yeah,
but it didn't get released until after.
Is he in that?
Yeah.
It's his first movie. And Jackson Avery from Grey's Anatomy, he's another like one of the main dudes.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I remember him being in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
I gotta recommend that. I don't think Jessica's seen that.
Yeah.
And she is obviously obsessed with Grey's Anatomy, but I think she would like that. She's the type of person who will sit alone and watch a horror.
I can't remember the name of the guy that does Jackson Avery, but he does a lot of horror films. Like he's in a lot of like. Yeah, he was in the remake of Jacob's Ladder, which is the movie that inspired Silent Hill, like almost entirely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's about a Vietnam veteran, like years after Vietnam, like thinking he's slipping into hell, but it's also like maybe he's actually in hell, or maybe he never left Vietnam, or maybe, that kind of stuff. But like the world transitions, you can watching that movie, you're just like, oh, that's straight up Silent Hill, like absolutely.
Huh.
So,
It's kind of cool.
It's nice.
But
there's a recent series that came out on Netflix. It's about some child superhero group that's all grown up. It's got, I think it has Ellen Page in it, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what it's called.
Is it the one that's based on a comic book?
Yes.
There's a lot of...
I think it's the one that you recommended to me, Jeffrey. The one with the girl.
I'm Not Okay With This?
No.
Oh, okay.
That.
Well,
it's,
not that one.
keep going. I'll look it up.
Lock and Key?
No.
Outer Limits?
Outer Limits is no, that's not a that was a Twilight Zone competitor back in the.
There was a recent there's a new Netflix series called Outer Limits.
Really?
Yeah.
It's called Umbrella Academy.
Oh, that was so good.
Oh, Umbrella.
So
Umbrella. So Umbrella Academy.
Really good.
The reason why that came to mind is when you're talking about the Vietnam vet is that character Klaus, who can raise the dead or see the dead, gets accidentally sent back in time to Vietnam and like has this whole love story back there.
Huh.
Like I have a really hard time being moved emotionally.
So
like by TV shows and movies, but he came back from Nam and just was like a broken man. Those scenes where he like goes to the Veterans of Foreign War Hall and he just breaks down in front of just this bulletin board with like all his war buddies on it, and he's the only one who survived, and he's still wearing his like flak jacket. Like that was really moving for me.
Huh.
And it was hilarious at the same time because it's just so out of place.
Yeah.
I like the part in Watchmen where the comedian is when the Dr. Manhattan is like he saves like someone's life from the comedian, and the comedian's like, you don't care, you could end this war like that, literally like that if you wanted, but
I haven't seen Watchmen.
No, he doesn't he fail to save someone? The comedian like shoots a Vietnamese woman who's like pregnant.
I don't know.
And he's like, you could have turned that bullet into a snowflake.
That's right. Yeah, like you could have turned it into snowflakes or bubbles or something. Yeah.
Watchmen, Matt,
I am aware.
Love Watchmen.
I am aware.
Yeah.
I have also heard that
there's just dicks everywhere.
I have heard that
Giant
Yaya,
little dicks, blue dicks.
I have heard that Yaya has a massive schlong.
Yaya.
I think he's Dr. Manhattan.
Well, it's what's his real name? He's the captain in Alien Covenant. Chris. Shoot.
Well,
I'll look it up.
His name is Yaya. He's
no. Oh, you're thinking of the HBO Watchmen series.
Yes.
Okay, that's where the disconnect. The HBO Watchmen series is not. I don't think it's an adaptation of the comics. I think it's a sequel to the comics.
It is like its own thing. It is. I know because it was written by Damien. Shoot, I forget his last name, but the show was written by this same guy who wrote. I gotta look it up. I'm gonna drive me nuts.
This is just an episode of us forgetting names.
I know. It is literally. I remember his first name.
Damian Lewis.
Thank
Star
you.
Of Life. No, I don't know. No,
Oh.
I was just gapping.
What do you think of Alien Covenant?
It's
I actually really liked Alien Covenant. Like
I liked it too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Alien Covenant. I saw that in theaters twice. I remember it was announced, and I actually I watched all the Alien movies with Brian because he had never seen them at that point, and it was like really cool because like the first one is amazing, and the second one is amazing, and the third one and the fourth one and Prometheus and Alien Covenant was amazing.
Yeah.
And so
it's Damon.
There's redeemable things.
Yeah, so it was Damon Lindelof, who also wrote Lost. He was a writer on Lost.
Yes.
Wow.
So.
Anthony, what's your opinion on Alien Covenant? Have you seen it? I think Anthony froze.
Yeah, he may have froze.
He texted me that he's been getting like disconnected. So like.
Oh dang.
Oh man, that sucks.
But But I have not seen Alien Covenant. I
thought it was really fucking good.
I
had some issues with it, kind of maybe retconning some of the previous movies.
I haven't seen a single Alien movie.
But I mean, I justified that saying like Prometheus did way worse, than Alien Covenant did.
Yeah, that's 100%.
But I will say Alien Covenant and X-Men Apocalypse, although I did not like X-Men Apocalypse as much, solidified. I don't even get me started on the X-Men movies. Solidified Michael Fassbender as my favorite modern day actor.
He's so good. Dude is incredible. He's so amazing.
Yeah. Even in Prometheus, he plays like the Lawrence of Arabia type character.
Yeah.
So well.
David, Well, and that's the thing. Like in Alien Covenant, he plays two characters, and like even though it's the same face, you can immediately tell who's who. Like,
it's kind of like if you haven't seen Split, James McAvoy is also just absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen Split, I recommend you check it out.
I have heard it's very good.
It's simply watch it for James McAvoy's performance. Because he plays a person with split dissociative identity disorder, and he's got 23 different personalities within himself, and
don't personalities team up?
He portrays them like as one person. He can literally flip a switch, and you notice immediately for the change in character, like someone taking over, and it's crazy. It's awesome.
I'll definitely. Well, I've been meaning to watch Split because Split is the movie that like created the M. Night Shyamalan shared universe of movies. That didn't include
Glass and Unbreakable.
And Glass, and like, none of them have been available to stream like at the same time.
Yeah,
but I think HBO is going to have the rights to all of them.
Oh, okay.
Now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I've only seen Split. I did not see Glass or Unbreakable. So
okay. I heard Glass was okay. I can't remember who was the last. I've talked to someone recently who saw Glass, and they were just whelmed by it. It was okay. I think it was Logan. Oh, okay. Who said, like, it was fine.
So, I'm gonna kind of circle back. You said you started watching Avatar. How are you liking it so far? The question I guess I have is, Alex, did you watch it when you grew? Alex, did you watch it growing up?
Absolutely.
Okay, so did I. I want to know your opinion and view as a full adult grown-up watching it.
Right.
Rather than someone, like, for me and Alex, it's a nostalgia trip. For you, it's something totally brand new. I want to hear your opinions on it.
I want to make a genre distinction, because I feel like is a large argument. Whether it's like an animated kids show, or if it belongs in the like anime genre.
Both
for you?
I say both.
Yeah, okay. It's just like Samurai Jack in the original Teen Titans. It just
even with like Teen Titans especially, that's definitely influenced by Japanese anime.
Yeah.
Well, so it's really interesting that you actually brought up the I have no nostalgia with it factor, because like I don't. Like I somehow avoided that massive bullet. Like I just sidestepped it without even realizing it, because I was not a Nickelodeon kid. Like we were not a Nickelodeon household growing up. We were a Cartoon Network household, and so Avatar was always the show I heard about that was like really, really good. But the problem I had for a really long time was that, especially in like middle school and like early high school, when I would say, "Oh, I've never seen Avatar," people would like flip their shit, and they'd be like, "I can't believe you haven't seen. You got to see it. It's the best show ever." And then me is just like, "Well, okay." Calm down, please. Which is why I don't do that when people say, I mentioned this in an earlier podcast, when they're like, I've never seen Ghostbusters. I'm not going to be like, what? You've never seen Ghostbusters? Because like, it's hard, and I'm still guilty of it in some ways. Like if someone would enjoy a movie, like Alex did earlier, how I was when we talked about Blade Runner, and I was just like, yeah, I've never seen Blade Runner. I didn't like it that much, like that's surprising because it fits in my little genre thing.
Yeah.
But
and it's got Harrison Ford in it.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford's in it. But and apparently someone, okay, good old Logan protecting the law. So I remember the first time I ever attempted. I'm going to actually start this with Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Okay.
I was recommended Perks of Being a Wallflower well into my 20s. So
Okay.
far past the point where it would have any like formative impact on me.
Right.
And I couldn't finish it. Like I found the characters like insufferable
Boring.
high school, well, yeah, and it's just like that kind of thing. But that's the point. Like, you're supposed to relate to those characters in high school, and like I was no longer in high school, so I was like, I don't care.
I saw it in high school, and I thought it was boring. So
so that led to another really like hesitant, where I was just like, I don't know if I want to like really get into Avatar, because like I don't want to start it and then like not like it, and then people like be like, well, why don't you like it? I attempted starting it back when Brian lived with us, because I actually bought the Blu-ray set.
Right.
And we did watch the first episode together, and then I like my life got super duper busy, and like I was like unable to like keep watching with like him and my brother and stuff. But then it hit Netflix, and a lot of my peers and stuff were talking about Avatar, and at first some of them were like, well, I just really hate that now it's like a bandwagon thing. But then they were just like, yeah, but then I got to this part where Uncle Iroh was like, and it's just like, yeah, but like more to the family, that kind of thing. And I love, and like the voice cast, I've always is incredibly stellar.
So, did you know that Mark Hamill is Firelord Ozai?
I'm sure I've seen that.
Yeah.
But like, it's just that
Luke Skywalker is the Fire Lord.
I really like like my favorite dynamic in the show so far is definitely between Zuko and Uncle Iroh.
Yes.
Because like I know Dante Basco from other stuff, and I know Mako was
strap in.
Yeah, Mako was Aku in Samurai Jack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you saw the 2007 CGI Ninja Turtles movie, he was Splinter. Which surprised he avoided that role for so long, but like I think that was his last role, because he had like really severe lung cancer.
Oh, dang.
And he passed away. And so like seeing those characters like interact and stuff, and like having so much, I think the thing that impressed me so much about it so far, because I'm nowhere near, I'm not even like halfway through the first season yet.
Right.
So like I've got a long journey ahead of me. I got some bossing says or whatever. I got some glowing eyes. I got some sad Uncle Iroh singing songs to trees and stuff. I know that stuff's coming.
Yeah, but, where are you in the first season?
Oh yeah, no, don't say anything. Like don't give me
any. No. We want to know where you are.
I think I'm 4 or 5 episodes into the first season.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Because I got I switched over to Rick and Morty, because I knew I could just knock that off my plate in one sitting, and I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew Avatar is one of those shows where like once you get past that tipping point, it's just time consuming. Like I'm expecting to lose like full days just with it on.
So kind of on the Avatar's talk about just the show in general. Adult nostalgia, whatever. Because I know people like you that have tried to watch it, and they just could not get into it. That they didn't grow up watching it. It's not a nostalgia thing for them. They tried. They know the hype behind it, and they just couldn't. And they were like, I couldn't get past it. But by the time you finish it, you realize that it is. The storytelling is probably some of the best storytelling in a show, period. Like, it deals with a lot of human-to-human conflict, and it actually shows consequences of wartime. It shows consequences of what that does to countries and power and, obsessiveness over that power, and kind of it also
think,
like on like dealing with Aang, he's already been introduced as someone. I know I'm dancing a fine line here, but right off the bat, he's like, I never wanted to be the Avatar. That's something he never wanted it. He never wanted that responsibility, and that's something he battles with. Because it's one of those duty almost over what you want, and it's that conflict of, oh, I'm the chosen one. I don't want to be. Why me? Sort of. Why do I have to do this? But okay, well, if that's how it's going to be, then I suppose we got to get it done. Sort of deal. And it's so incredible, and the characters too, because there are characters that I don't know if you've met yet. I'm not going to name any names, but that you meet and don't show up again until like mid-season 2, maybe even book 3. So and then when you meet them the second time, you don't even recognize it's them because they aren't in the same outfit that they were initially, and you're like, oh shit! Like it's what's their face, and the returning character, and then they had a story from when, even though you never saw it. They kind of touch on it, like, well, I did this exactly, and that's what I love about it, is the continuity behind it. Is they don't just jump like, oh, this character's here. Also, have you met the Cabbages guy yet?
Oh my god, I was just about to bring that up.
You haven't met Cabbages yet?
No, I know Cabbages yet, but I do know that, like, I've seen the meme where it's like my plans and it's Cabbage Guy, and then 2020 and it's Aang, and it's like, I can kind of put together what happens there.
Just wait until you meet Cabbage Guy.
I saw someone on Tumblr compare the cabbage salesman to the Magikarp salesman in Pokemon, like on the other end of the alignment chart. Where the Magikarp salesman took advantage of people, but the cabbage salesman was just taken advantage of. So, like, that kind of thing. The thing I definitely expect, because, like, I remember when the series was trying to be sold to me by several people, they said, like, well, you have your hero's journey, you have your, like, realistic love interests, you have your sibling relationships, all that's are great. But many, many, many people believe that my favorite part is going to be the redemption arc.
Yes.
That I know
is
gonna...
and
so
it happens late, too. I'm not going to say anything, but it's one of the last things that happens.
I'm getting all those nostalgic.
I know, me too. I'm like, I don't want to spoil anything. And me and you, I feel like Alex, you and I could talk forever about this.
So I want to do a quick plug, real quick.
Yep, go for it.
And this will include no. Yeah. Can you read? I can't. That's why I use Audible. Audible, please sponsor us. But Jeffrey, so there's a sequel series. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Yeah, Korra.
Yeah, okay, Legend of Korra. Have you any relation to that? Or just
I know a lot about Legend of Korra because I was super invested in the process, not because of it continuing the Avatar story, but what it did for representation in children's media, and like how it became very formative for stuff that eventually Steven Universe and She-Ra would like cement down really well.
So that's what I actually have never seen Korra fully through. I watched like half of the first season, and for anyone who has or hasn't watched it, the first season is kind of slow for Korra. I know it picks up in the like the later seasons.
I remember that because like that was like right when we got out of high school and like everyone was like losing their mind and stuff and like
it was like senior year, it was like 2014, between 2013 to 2015.
I didn't know it existed until like 2 years ago.
Really?
And I happened upon like a YouTube clip of it. It just happened in my recommendations. And I clicked on it and I was like, the fuck is this? What? Are they? Are they earthbending? Is that the Avatar?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I have
oh,
seen-
Korra.
That's what this is.
Yeah, I have seen people, again, another comparison. People compare Korra to the Star Wars sequel series, saying Korra did everything right where the Star Wars sequel series didn't. Talking about inheriting from like a generation of characters like that they didn't try to top, they didn't try to match. They did their
So
own thing.
the general overview, this is a very dumbed down, because I do know a little bit about Korra. So Korra is more about the spiritual journey of the Avatar, versus Aang is not as spiritual based.
You telling me this show ain't Christian? I'm gonna have to delete Netflix.
What gave you that clue?
I don't know if
Is it
the
Is it all of the Far East inspiration?
Reincarnation.
Yeah, I was about to say. All of the Far East inspiration behind it.
The character who is the uncle to another character, well, one character has a very distinct American accent, and the uncle has a very distinct Japanese accent, and there is no discrepancy between the two, like generationally.
It's fine.
It's fine.
But yeah, so I know that's one of the biggest differences. Is Korra really harps on, like, I don't want to say mental health, but not as much the physical stress, but as far as like the emotional stress behind something like that, being the chosen one. Whereas
that's
Aang is a lot. Aang is a lot less. Not to say that he's not emotional, but it's very hero's journey. Aang really is the hero's journey. Whereas Korra is a
bag and Luke Skywalker vibe off it.
Korra has a lot of internal conflict. Aang was a lot of external conflict.
Yeah, but she, like, the main difference is she shows up. She's like, I am the Avatar.
Yeah, that's her whole
and she gets like the best training from the masters of the four elements.
Yeah,
and
all she wants to be is the
really
best.
The divergence there.
Yeah,
I saw that Korra also, and maybe it happens in Avatar, I don't know, but I know that Korra was just like talking about like the combination of bending and like lava bending and metal bending and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's no spoilers. That's not really something that's touched on a lot, but there's some sprinkles. That's like a seed that has grown into like a tree in Legend of Korra.
Yeah,
because they start getting wild because the vanilla bending is lost its charm.
Yeah,
right. And what you have to do, that kind of that kind of.
But it's it's Korra's, her identity is being the Avatar. That's who she's like, I am the Avatar. Whereas Aang is like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it. Not me. And Korra's like, yeah.
Well, the one thing that I really liked, just from, because I've only seen a few, I've seen a small fraction of it. The one thing I really liked is they didn't try to pull, like, they don't elongate anything unnecessarily.
No.
Because you could spend a whole season trying to figure out, Aang is the Avatar? No, they figured that shit out in the first episode. Like, Aang's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Whoopity-doo!
Why didn't you tell us?
He's a child, so why would you expect him to keep that secret?
Right, where he says like he's 112 years old and he has to clean his room, and then like the when he finds like his old master's body, and him just kind of like
he just goes
that, like,
anger,
that really resonated
just
with me.
pure,
Like,
it was mourning and anger, and it was a 12-year-old child about to, have a temper tantrum.
Ooh, holy shit. Jeffrey, have you seen the meme where it's like, somebody fucks with the wind priests, or somebody fucks with my sky bison, and it's the guy sitting in the booth and he's just glowing.
Yeah. I've seen the one where it's like the guy like this. Or like he's eating a chicken tender, and then says someone put a muzzle on Appa, and then like they give him the eyes and the glowing arrow. I've seen that one, yeah.
That's funny. But
That's for later. That's for my children.
So, one thing I wanted to talk about, since we won't delve too much further into Avatar for the sake of spoilers.
Yes. Yeah,
I will be significantly further next week.
Okay. I may have to jump on it.
One thing I specifically wanted to talk about, and I mentioned it to you guys earlier in the week, was like movie scores. And I guess we could lump soundtracks into that, even though they are different. I'm still unclear on that whole. So Jeffrey, you could probably explain it. Yeah, Jeffrey, you could probably explain that difference better than I can, since you were a film major for a brief time, versus me, who is just a fan of the film industry.
So it's a difficult kind of thing.
It's a gray line.
I'm sure there is like a definition for each, but a score is generally music. When we think of scores, we generally think of like a John Williams to Star Wars.
Yes,
like John Williams did all the music for Star Wars.
Hans Zimmer.
There's no like, and then you've got like your Alan Silvestris and like Danny Elfmans and like all those people who also do scores and stuff. But like then you look on the flip side, like you take something like Nightmare Before Christmas, which not only has music that you don't hear, but you also have like songs, but it's a musical. So like that is still technically
a score,
like a soundtrack score thing. And then you have movies like, well, it's then there's the movies where there are pop songs that you either hear in the world or do not hear. Like in Guardians of the Galaxy and Back to the Future, those songs exist in the world of the movie, and those are diegetic sounds, and those are basically the characters can react to those sounds being heard. And then you have like Rocky. Eye of the Tiger plays, but he's not listening to Eye of the Tiger. It's just, it's a montage.
Yeah. But
it's a wide breadth. Generally, but a real quick rule of thumb, scores usually have no lyrics, and if they do have lyrics, they're fake Latin, like Duel of the Fates. And soundtracks, more often than not, are like songs with like verses and refrains.
So earlier in the week when I did bring up this topic, I actually did just a Wikipedia Google search, so it's not like I really went deep delving, but I did find a kind of a more definitive definition of the two. So a score is something specifically written for a movie, whereas a soundtrack can be a mix of a score and essentially songs that already exist. So a score such as... this is, like I said, this is a Wikipedia article, and I could have interpreted it wrong.
No,
but
I'm sure
something like Nightmare Before Christmas, I believe the entire thing would fall under a score because it's all original music.
So the issue with that is, and don't get me, what you said is all like technically correct. There's just like those little exceptions that like needle in the side, because you have like, well, I'll do Nightmare Before Christmas and Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Nightmare Before Christmas, yes, it's all like a score because it's a musical and it's a book. But the actual, there has never been a release up until the vinyl release of Nightmare Before Christmas that didn't have additional content that was not in the film.
Gotcha.
Like there's a closing monologue that you don't hear in the movie.
Yeah.
And then like the original score has like covers by like Fall Out Boy and Fiona Apple and stuff. And which as a fan, I love them all. But then you have a movie like Ghostbusters, where like the song Ghostbusters was obviously written for the movie Ghostbusters
and stolen,
but it gets like released separately as a single, so it's also considered a pop song to advertise the movie. So it like exists beforehand. It's like there's like needles and threads there that you could like spend all day. But like there's Lady Bird's coming to Netflix. Anyway, there's
tangent.
There's definitely it airs more towards when you're talking musicals and stuff, unless it's an adaptation of a musical. But like original movie musicals like La La Land, you can generally put all of that together in score. And then pop songs, even though they could be written specifically for the movie, like the Huey Lewis song Back in Time was written specifically for Back to the Future, but it became its own charting song afterwards.
Yeah, because I think he release it right before the movie came out,
There's a whole actually a really interesting look at the way 80s movies were scores and soundtracks were written, because Huey Lewis and the News and Ray Parker Jr. Back to the Future and Ghostbusters got in a legal battle because they accused each other of ripping each other's music off, and
they paid out of court.
Yeah, and it's really cool. We won't delve into it now, the history of that,
right.
But it's just really funny because, like, essentially Huey Lewis said, "Hey, Ghostbusters is a ripoff of that song." Ray Parker Jr. was like, "Okay, so you're not scoring Ghostbusters anymore?" He says, "No, I'm going to do Back to the Future." "Okay, we're going to settle this out of court," that kind of thing. And then later on, Huey Lewis bragged about it, but part of the settlement was you're not allowed to talk about it. So
right.
Ray Parker Jr. got all of his money back and then, like, more later because Huey Lewis just did what he did.
Jeez.
But yeah.
Okay, so I have like a question about a movie's music.
Go for it.
I'm unsure what term to use. So the Disney animated film Tarzan has an album that was released with it, as well as music included in the movie that was written for that movie by Phil Collins. Mm-hmm. Is that a score or soundtrack?
I think that's one of those situations where it might be both.
Yeah, I would
because that does happen.
I would err more towards soundtrack than score.
Yeah,
because like, for example, I'm gonna like, obviously the people listening to this won't see it, but like I've got a good rule of thumb. If you look at I'm gonna pull it off. Like the movie A Star Is Born, okay?
Yes.
With Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Great movie.
These songs were written, most of it, like La Vie en Rose obviously wasn't written.
Oh, isn't that where he pisses himself on stage?
Yeah.
Accepting a Grammy?
Yes, there's a lot more to the movie than just that, but like, yeah.
I just saw that clip out of context and I thought it was real.
That's the one where it was just like, oh, that is her real name. Like the Lady Gaga like story where I saw it in theaters and the old women like didn't realize Lady Gaga, like, but even though the songs, a lot of the pop songs in that movie were written originally for the movie, it's still marketed as a soundtrack. Then you have like,
does it really just come down to marketing?
Yeah,
pretty much,
because score sounds a lot more bougie than soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like if you say, "Oh yeah, I'm selling the," and don't even get me started on the Broadway stuff, because it's not score or soundtrack; it's cast recording.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's not. Like if you look at Hamilton right here, it's the original Broadway cast recording.
I've seen it because it's even on like Spotify albums and such, because I do listen to several Broadway music on there, and it's always cast recording. I've never really thought about that because I was like, oh yeah,
because a soundtrack could have like anybody covering any song, but a cast recording is this specific ensemble of people. Yeah. Like even like the Les Mis 10th anniversary cast recording still sounds different than the Les Mis cast recording, even though they're the same cast. It's just it's semantics. It's purely semantics. It's all music.
Yeah.
So all right, how about this? Just for, I guess, listenability. If it's primarily nonverbal to classical, we'll call it score.
Yeah.
Pre-written songs that exist prior to the movie, or songs written for the movie, soundtrack. Can we agree to those terms for right now?
Yeah, for simplicity's sake, that works.
Yeah, because we could get sucked into the nitty-gritty.
We've established our semantic rules for
words, soundtrack, no words, score.
We know words mean things. Soundtrack. We're going to ignore that for right now.
Because Duel of Fates has like the fake Latin where it's like...
Fair. Yeah. Okay. So, which brings me to a question of which one do you guys prefer?
Well, it depends on the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I was about to say.
That's like saying like, do you prefer movies that are in hour long or 2 hours long?
It was a trick question. So
you pulled a sneaky on me.
I did. So kind of based on that, what in a movie do you guys look for? Do you want like a deep score, like a John Williams type of thing, or a Hans Zimmer type of thing, or would you rather have something a little less emotional?
So
you're asking a loaded question based on a case by case, like
Right.
I guess answerability. Because if you do the Lord of the Rings movie, but you have Huey Lewis and the News playing, like that's just ridiculous.
sounds perfect. I don't even know where the problem is.
Howard Shore, because Howard Shore is, I would say, a lot more tame than, say, like Hans Zimmer or John Williams, who really, because they really like to, really pronounce those emotions that they're trying to bring out. Whereas Howard Shore was very much just kind of this background. The emotion is there, but I think it fit the mood more than
classic
I think it
Beethoven.
So I think with Howard Shore it fits the mood rather than sets the mood.
I think I think that's true initially. I think the thing where Howard Shore's score succeeds for Lord of the Rings, if you don't know what we're talking about, folks.
Right.
For Lord of the Rings, more so than like Hans Zimmer's does with the Nolan trilogy, the Dark Knight Nolan trilogy, is that Howard Shore's music underplays the scenes, but in Return of the King, the music can start playing, and you immediately remember all the other times where the music is played, and you're like, oh, I'm in for this. And he usually, more often than not, he usually jukes you, and he'll be like, haha, you thought. And then the movie's just like, it becomes really, really tragic.
So fun fact, one of probably my favorite songs, probably of all time, it's one of those songs like I could listen to and I am just filled with bliss, just pure, and it's Annie Lennox, Into the West. Like I could listen to that song at any time and just be just immediately calmed down. It's, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful songs ever written, because it's just there's something about it, and I don't know what it is, but for me at least, like I could be super angry, I could be really sad, I could be super happy, I could listen to it and I will be immediately just blissed out. And
I don't know off the top of my head, were those lyrics original to Tolkien? Because like
I don't know.
Yeah, because like for those of you who aren't in the know, the Lord of the Rings books, if they were quote unquote properly adapted, they'd all essentially be musicals. Tolkien loved writing poems and songs into all that stuff. And they're so effective because like even when the last Hobbit movie came out, they used Pippin's song when he's singing to Denethor when they're making the final bid for Osgiliath. And like Faramir is getting like so a haunting scene.
Fun fact about that scene is the actor who played Pippin had the words to that song are in the books. The words previously existed, but he actually improvised that entire tune. That was not something. So he actually improvised that.
He just wrote lyrics.
And so the actor for Pippin actually improvised that whole that whole thing and
nailed it.
Freaking killed it.
That's the thing that's always kind of.
I could be wrong.
Whenever I read Tolkien, is I don't know the tune to any of the poems or the songs that are sung. Right. I always have to try and guess it, and I'm practically tone deaf. So never works out.
Yeah, and I could be wrong on that fact. I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere. I could be wrong.
Boots of yellow, Tom Bombadil.
So.
That sounds right, but I think I'm trying to backtrack to what you said, like when you talked about like the emotional side of it.
Yes.
And stuff. I think it's there's an old rule of thumb for a lot of filmmaking is that and honestly like even plays like theater in general is that the only thing you should really notice is the acting. Everything else is just there to accentuate the act. You are there to, and there's the old like adage where it's just like the actor has the easiest job out of everyone and he gets the most clout because all he has to do is show up and say some lines and effectively like out of all the jobs in theater, like the one I want to go into, easiest, peasiest, lemony squeeziest. And any actor who is not full of shit will just say the same. Like the actors don't do anything. So the quote unquote the best score, just like the best editing in a movie, is one that you don't notice. You just kind of respond to. But
Best
that
editing.
does not mean that it's not memorable.
Yes.
Because like if you're like trying to if you're watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Raiders March plays, you're not paying attention to the Raiders March. You're paying attention to Indiana Jones running away from the boulder. But later on, if someone says, what's the Raiders March? And then you're able to do it, and then immediately get it mixed up with the Superman theme, which were both done by the same guy, and it's endlessly frustrating. Which is also still John Williams, but
dude,
like that's you listen. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go continue. I was just about to say I'm almost certain, and again, this could be very wrong, but I think John Williams actually has the record for most Oscars.
I think so. He for sure has nomination. I actually looked this up recently. He's been nominated for more Oscars than anyone. I think he sits at 57 nominations.
Yeah.
But he's only ever won six. Like he's not. He doesn't win like.
So he actually hasn't even won that much, because I just looked up who has won the most Oscars, like period, and it is actually Katharine Hepburn, who has only won 4.
Yeah.
So okay.
You've been spitting out these alternative facts recently. I think we do need to get a dedicated fact checker.
Hey, for me, I am filled with rumors and things that I've heard over the years, and yeah. So yeah, John Williams has been nominated 52 times, and he does have the record for most nominations. So I was right in that.
Yeah, absolutely. But like that's the thing, because if we're talking, because I remember your initial question was just kind of circling it back to that.
Yeah.
Like in the Discord was like, what's your favorite score? And then I think it was either you or Alex or someone posed it saying, well, that depends on mood.
Yeah.
Obviously, because like you said, like the Into the West, like immediately calms you. Like it doesn't matter where you are, but sometimes you don't need to be immediately calm.
Right.
Sometimes you need to be like amped up, like
Oh yeah.
And if like we're going to Lord of the Rings, Howard Shore, I don't know the piece of music, but the essentially I think the first time we see it is when we see the Fellowship taking their first like trailer shot over the hill, and then you get the rolling New Zealand and stuff. And I think we should all avoid doing our own vocal renditions of all these themes, because it'll just devolve into just 3 guys over
tone deaf.
There it is, and Alex is immediately. But that one gets me amped up like consistently. Yeah. But if
Duel
we're
of the Fates, which is another one that's just like, ooh, let's go.
And anything that Mick Gordon has produced.
Or if we're talking about like songs that like are like spooky to me, like scores that are spooky to me, Knife in the Dark from the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, that one, like when we first see the ring wraiths appear and everything.
Oh yes, very
scary. The original Lavender Town theme from Pokemon Red.
God, there's like something about it. It's so it's not cool.
And then you have
Alex.
The Halloween theme, John Carpenter's Halloween theme. Yeah.
What did we say, Alex?
I'm sorry.
Which he actually, I think it was like he made the movie and then he realized, he was like, shit, I don't have any music, so he locked himself into his hotel room until he started and finished the score. And that was in 1977 when they filmed that movie, released in 78. So even though there was probably a little bit of extra influence going on there.
Most likely. I mean,
just a little,
most likely, almost everyone in that time period was doing something. I mean, it was
absolutely. But then you go to just like you said, like with Avatar, there's just some stuff that's nostalgic.
It's great.
One of the most nostalgic pieces of music for me is from the Pokemon anime, and it's a piece called Total War. which sounds like, oh, what the hell's that about? But it is the theme that plays at the beginning of every like Pokemon League arc. Like when the first battle in the Pokemon League, it's like, and it's diegetic sound too. It's like supposed to be a piece of music in the world of Pokemon. It's like this very triumphant, almost like gladiatorial-esque, like we're all right, everything we've done is led up to this, that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
but
music in general is just bad.
See, one thing that sparked this question for me earlier in the week was actually, I know, Alex, you kind of mentioned his name not just a few moments ago, but I was actually listening to video game soundtracks or scores, or because that's another thing. It's do video games have scores or soundtracks? You know, it's because it's not. I don't know if necessarily it's written for. I'm pretty sure it is. I know for a fact, like anything Bethesda's done, with the exception of the Fallout games, because in the Fallout games, it's a combination. Because in Fallout, it's post-apocalyptic, and it's radio stations that are basically just play like old 50s and 60s music.
Yeah, so it's all in-world.
And it's all in-world, but I do know there are still music and sounds that do happen just in general in the game itself. But then you got
like
the
Elder Scrolls.
The Elder Scrolls is
language,
completely flip-flopped on that.
Like
Some
you
of the
boot
most
up Skyrim, and it's like,
yeah, right. And I forget his name. I listen to him all the time too. No, it's he did not initially. It's oh shoot, I can't remember his name. Howard Shore has done it. He did part of Skyrim, but it's also before Howard Shore for both Morrowind, Oblivion. It was shoot. Oh.
One day we're gonna research our stuff before we actually.
Yeah, we probably should. Well, it's funny because on any other given day, I could honestly just tell you this dude's name. But because I'm put on the spot, I'm like, what is his name? And it's gonna drive me insane.
Oh god. Okay, you said he did more.
Yes. Jeremy Soule.
Yep, read it right as you said it. Jeremy Soule.
He is incredible because he did Oblivion and Morrowind, and I, in my opinion, both of those soundtracks are much better than Skyrim's. And that's my personal opinion.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's so not to say
Jeremy
that.
Soule and Howard Shore both did Skyrim, like they both did it.
I think that's when they started to team up, because I know Howard Shore has primarily done the Elder Scrolls Online game. I know he has done almost a ton.
Because like that can happen too, where you get like two really great people working together, and they don't really. It just kind of doesn't.
Because I'm almost certain that it was Jeremy Soule and. So it actually, no, Skyrim was still mostly Jeremy Soule. So I think Howard Shore did the Elder Scrolls Online. So I think that's where Howard Shore comes in, is the Elder Scrolls Online
completely
games.
Understandable.
Yeah. Which is it's a mix. So it's Brad Derrick, who is another real popular composer. Another one of my favorite composers is Bear. Shoot,
I love Bear.
It's Bear. What's his name? Bear McCreary, who has done. He did Outlander, the show. He did the new Godzilla movies.
I haven't seen Outlander.
I've heard really good,
phenomenal.
I've heard really good things about it.
It's really good.
The description kind of throws me off, though.
Yeah, it's really good. First season, a lot of sex. Sometimes a little too much.
It's like
sex.
Game of Thrones,
but worse. But he has done the new Godzilla movies. He did the God of War games. He did some of the newer Cloverfield movies as well. It's all Bear McCreary.
I'm getting ready for the new God of War.
Phenomenal composer. I actually listen to a lot of Bear McCreary stuff. He is super phenomenal. But he's another one. I primarily listen to his video game stuff. Like the God of War soundtrack is just crazy. I mean, it won Game of the Year, I think 2018.
Yes.
I believe it was. And I've never played any of the God of War games. I have listened to that soundtrack many times.
That was my first God of War game as well.
Yeah, it's a good entry. Like that one, it's a real good like.
But that's where, kind of to backtrack how we got talking about video games. The Doom soundtrack is actually what made me think of this question of just talking about scores, music, because I'm a big music guy. Unfortunately, I did not inherit any of the musical talent. My mom played cello for a long time, and my brother has played a numerous amount of instruments. Drums, guitar. My brother played steel drums, trombone, trumpet, piano.
I can play like the worst guitar imaginable, and that is the extent of my musical talent.
Yeah, like, and my brother, like I said, piano, trombone, steel drums, regular drums, guitar, bass. Like he's done all sorts of musical talent.
Yeah, my buddy Daniel's like that. So he pick up an instrument he's never played before.
I did not inherit.
Hours, you wouldn't be able to tell he'd never seen it. Like, honest to God.
Yeah, I did not inherit
guitar, piano, violin,
any musical talent. I do have rhythm, which is nice. That's about the only thing I can do.
Yeah, you've always been really good about the whole like beatboxing drumming thing. Like you've been able to do like the drumming, like always. You've always had that.
Yeah, rhythm has always been my thing. But when it comes to like melody, I'm like borderline tone deaf. I can harmonize okay. Like if I'm listening to a song, I can somewhat sing along to it without it sounding horrible. But like as soon as the song cuts off, I'm like, I don't know where I'm at anymore. Right. And then it's just awful. But
yeah,
music is such a huge part for me. I listen to it so in depth, and it just someone who kind of grew up just around music. My grandma's been their church pianist for like 30 years. My mom, like I said, played cello and piano for a long time. We had a piano growing up. I had piano lessons when I was younger, but I got tiny hands, and I don't have them long piano fingers, so it was really difficult for me, even to this day, given a 10-year-old isn't going to have super long fingers. Well, you might. It's just little, I don't have the piano hands that people talk about. And, but I love music, and actually took music theory and such, and actually did really well. So it's one of those things. I have the knowledge. I just can't translate that knowledge to any instrument, which is really unfortunate. But
just circle back. You were talking about the Nick Gordon.
Yes. Doom.
So I recently completed that game and immediately downloaded the soundtrack.
It's so good,
and have just been blasting it every time I.
It'll get you so hype.
I listen not only to the songs that are on there, or to the music that are on there, but just like the spoken voice sections, like Dogma, like the first one, where the Doomslayer meme comes from.
Doomslayer. Yeah. So I have a question. Are you typically a fan of like the heavy metal type, just is that like a typical genre you would listen to, or is this kind of like your intro into that sort of genre?
Not really.
Okay.
I've listened to several metal bands before, like Metallica's a classic.
Of course.
Slayer. Armand Amathal.
So it's not something that's like totally foreign to you, and you were going through this game it was slaughtering demons.
That I had an interest in.
Okay, so it's not like you were going through the games slaughtering demons and just headbanging, just going nuts and being like, man, this is some. I feel great.
Yeah, like I really like that genre.
See, I'm the same way.
but I can only listen to it in certain circumstances.
Same.
Which are it's really funny because they're polar opposites. I can listen to it, one, if I'm in the gym, which makes sense, and two, if I'm doing anything with Excel. anything with the spreadsheet at work. Like people will come over to me and have to tap on my shoulder while I'm at work, so I'll have my headphones on, and I'm just like trying to
just going nuts.
Use every muscle in my neck just to keep from like slamming my head into the computer.
That's amazing.
It's like a cathartic release for me.
Yeah. So
just being in the cube, like nerding out in Excel.
So I guess that a question I just thought of. Has there ever been like
on my tank?
Has there ever been a like movie, show, game, just any type of media that has introduced you to a new type of like genre of music that you normally wouldn't listen to, but it kind of was your introduction to it? That was like, okay, that I actually didn't mind that. Maybe it was a combination of two genres, and that it touched on a genre you don't usually listen to, but it's mixed with a genre you do listen to a lot. You know, 'cause that does happen quite a bit.
Jeffrey,
I actually, I was thinking about that when you were talking about like heavy metal and stuff, and that kind of led me down like a pathway of memories and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a mutual friend, who yeah. Colin Baker. When I would like spend the night over at his house, I've never been very good at video games that weren't like RPGs, because like RPG I can just sit down. You know, I don't have to, like, when it comes to like timing and like urgency and stuff, I'm not great.
A little panicky.
But
like...
I loved watching him play games.
Yeah.
And a game that we played and then promptly realized was really, really bad was the Deadliest Warrior video game. Yeah, and we realized that like it didn't matter who you picked. The pirate had a blunderbuss and could one-shot anyone else right at the start of the match. So it didn't matter who you picked. You could be a ninja, you could be a samurai, anything. But the music in that was like a little heavier than I typically listen to, because at that point in my life I was very, very tame when it came to my music, like 50s rock to 70s rock, some 80s rock, and that's it. And he said, like, did you like the music? Would you like to like hear more music like it? And he not only introduced me to other music, other video game music like Skyrim and Red Dead, but he was like, there's this like Swedish metal band called Falconer I think you'll really like. And I goddamn love Falconer.
They're
Falconer rocks my socks out. Lament of a Minstrel kicks ass. Like that.
Yeah.
I hear that song, I'm immediately like, I'm ready to do anything.
Yeah.
But
what's that band? I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
Falconer.
It's spelled like the same, like the job, Falconer. It's spelled the same. But the song that I actually recently rediscovered, that from the first note immediately gets my adrenaline pumping, is the Mortal Kombat theme.
Yeah.
You hear the gong hit, like you hear the gong hit at the very beginning, and it's like. You just immediately, it's just, you suck. And even though they do like all the lyrics are just, it's lyrics. It's just simply like them naming the roster of the original game, but still you're just like, fuck you, fuck you. Yeah. Like you feel like you can do anything. And that was like my entryway into like the heavier stuff.
Okay.
When it comes to like loud stuff, you know, because and even listening to songs in other languages, I was really, really bad about, because I was just like not, I wanted to know what I was listening to. But then I heard I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a German speed metal band. And then I mentioned where I was just like, wow, I wonder what other.
Is it Rammstein?
I don't think so. I'll look it up when like you take your turn. But then I realized that like 99 Red Balloons is the worst version of 99 Luftballons. And like it was like, oh, that song's much better. And then like I prefer Hotel California in Spanish. I just think it sounds better.
Gypsy Kings.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Then there's
write that down.
then you got I think it was Ricky Martin that did Copacabana in both English and Spanish, and it's just like, and you've just got all these examples where like songs will sound better like in different languages, simply because just the melodic tones of speaking just work better than in English, which is why like Duel of the Fates uses fake Latin for it's like you're not saying anything, and the words that you are saying they don't make sense, but simply just like belting like a note and starting it with like an SKA and then holding that note, it's like really intimidating when 300 people do it at the same time. And it's like, okay, all right, okay, but yeah.
So kind of touching on the music in foreign language type of deal, or even I'm gonna dip into cultural music because it is very different. So like you could get into Appalachian folk music, like jug blowing and stuff like that.
The bluegrass scene really has a lot of diversity.
It is. It's so widespreading. But one of kind of hop across the pond. I'm sure both of you are familiar with the Pixar movie Brave, correct?
Yeah. Pixar?
Okay. So the
change your fate. Would you change your shoes?
So the woman who sings, the touchstone song of that, her name is Julie Fallis, and she's actually mostly sings in traditional Gaelic, and it is a beautiful language. Like I don't know what the hell she's saying most of the time, but beautiful songs. And even the song titles are in Gaelic most of the time, so I'm like, I don't even know what I'm listening to, but it just sounds incredible. And there's something like really soothing about it too. It was one of those moments where I was like, because I do this sometimes. If I find an artist I really like, I'll be like, what other stuff do they got? And so I was listening to Touch the Sky, which is, the touchstone song of Brave. And I was like, okay, let's see what Julie Fallon, because I'm a sucker for Scott Gaelic, like the Gaelics, Scots Irish kind of thing like that. That culture has always fascinated me ever since I was like 7 years old. It's always just been a very interesting thing to me. And I found out, I was like, oh, she's not usually an English singer. She has like 3 songs that are in English that are all from the movie Brave.
Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of times, for it to sound different, they'll get non-English speakers to sing songs in English. Like Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi, the band that did their Teen Titans theme. Like the reason it sounds so like different is because Japanese is their primary language. They're Japanese pop singers. So the Teen Titans theme is it's pronounced correctly, but it's still like it's got this dissonance to it where it's like
it's enunciated weird.
Well, with Julie Fallis, I believe she does speak fluent English. I think she speaks both Gaelic and English. But when she sings, I know she's more of a like Gaelic folk singer, I'm pretty sure. But it's beautiful. And she doesn't sing like just, jigs and reels. It's just also really beautiful stuff. I'll send both of you the link
absolutely.
To a song, one of my favorite songs from her. I did look up the lyrics to this song, and it's a really actually super sad song about a sailor who went off to sea and then died at sea. And it's like, oh gosh. But the song is beautiful. And I'll have to share that with you guys. And
turns out it's just a cover of like Randy.
I know, right?
Randy, you're a fine girl.
But
well, there's 2 things I want to touch on before we let Alex talk.
Right, I know he doesn't get to say anything.
But one, I've known people, especially through the MTSU, who can sing in languages that they can't speak in. Like they can sing fluently in the language and know what they're saying, but they could not, especially German. Like German is like that's done a lot because it's like the tonations like train your voice better than like anything. But I realized when you were saying, Yeah. Which, by the way, the band is Varg, Varg. I think the song's like Das Ande von Lügen or something. I'll send it. We're all gonna be sending each other soundtracks.
I know, right?
or playlists or whatever. Scores. Fuck it.
Music.
One
Cast recordings.
Yeah. One song I realized that I have heard covered in multiple languages with multiple instruments from different decades all over the world, and I love every single version of it, is Carol of the Bells.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Carol of the Bells kicks ass any language, anytime. And I'm talking from the South Park Christmas movie to Lindsey Sterling to John Williams to like. And by the way, if you haven't heard of Lindsey Sterling, check her shit out.
She's absolutely one of my favorite like performers.
Yeah. Carol of the Bells is just like because I remember I joked a few years ago in college where I said Carol of the Bells is great because it's the song everyone loves to listen to but no one knows the words of, and then a friend of mine made dead eye contact with me. It was like, oh, you mean hark hear the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say throw cares away, and like she just did the whole song like just speak like making eye contact. I was like, okay, you're powerful, I get it.
Really aggressive.
That's funny.
Yes. That's my piece.
Right. Alex, we are giving you the time to speak now.
All right, you're on the clock for 2 minutes and go.
Okay, wow. All right. Well, let me just gather my thoughts right here. So the original question was, is there some form of media that has introduced a specific genre of music?
Yes.
To you, correct? Okay. I can think of one instance where that's happened.
Okay.
Because I've just heard most genres of music and
right.
found them enjoyable. But the movie Tron Legacy really introduced me to electronic music. Ah. That was a genre I hadn't really explored.
It's great.
Then, like D-Rez from the Tron soundtrack is really, really good.
Electronic music is super great, like if you're video gaming, to just throw on in the background.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because there's no words, you don't get distracted by wanting to sing along, but there are moments where you're just like, you kind of jam out to it and you're kind of bouncing up and down like, hell yeah, this part's great.
And it's something where you can really set a good like beats per minute.
Yeah.
And if you run too, keeping a good cadence.
Yes. It is great workout music. It is fantastic workout music.
One of my favorite songs on YouTube is actually a 10th anniversary commemorative YouTube Yu-Gi-Oh rap set to Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger by Daft Punk.
Interesting.
I love that.
There's a 30-minute loop of Bloody Tears from Castlevania 3.
Ooh.
That's on YouTube. It's like the 8-bit version. That kicks ass too. And that was remastered for the Castlevania Netflix series.
For beautiful music.
I love 8-bit music.
Oh yeah, chiptune, baby.
I love 8-bit sound. There's something about it, and I don't know what it is, but it just hits my soul.
Yeah, that 30-minute loop and Get Swifty set to Redbone got me through like 2 finals weeks.
Oh no.
I think the thing especially that's so amazing about the like 8-bit 16-bit era of music and stuff is that even though you have it's like talking about the Howard Shore thing, even though you have this music, it's like ingrained in your head, so you can hear the 16-bit version or you can hear like the London Symphony Orchestra do like the Hyrule theme, and it's or the
Mario theme,
oh, I'm on an adventure, like pulling out the Master Sword, like just like it's just this gorgeous like, and then of course like how many people have like done the like any Mario theme. Yeah, exactly. Which is interesting because like there are just like non-lyrical pieces of music that we have ingrained in our conscious that I don't think we even realize are pieces of music.
Right.
Like the Jeopardy theme. Like when people are taking their time, people will just immediately jump into the Jeopardy theme. And
I whistle it all the time.
Conditioned to do that,
They did something where there was a study done where they went and found like semi-remote African tribes, and they would like show them like the Nike swoosh, and they were like, "Oh, Nike," or they would play a jingle, and they would know the rest of it. Like, and that's how far spread like those jingles and that marketing had gone.
One of the primary writers, there's a singer from the 70s and 80s called Barry Manilow, who's famous for Copacabana. My mom was a big Barry Manilow fan growing up, but he didn't make his money being a pop singer. He made his money writing jingles. And one of his songs he literally performed was called Very Strange Medley, and he just puts all of his jingles together. And like he starts out by saying just sing along if you know the words, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and people are just like, what? Like, it's just like, wait, that is you. And I'm stuck on a Band-Aid and a Band-Aid's stuck on me. He's had some killer McDonald's and Dr. Pepper themes and stuff, and it's just like,
right.
It's just so weird. Like, it's so weird. Like the Big Mac rap. Remember that?
No,
like,
I don't.
2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. That was just the advertisement for Big Mac. Like, that one.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard that before in my life.
And then, of course, there was also the very infamous tuna on the wall.
Yeah. Give me back that fillet of fish.
Where it was, give me that fillet of fish. Give me that fish. What if it were you stuck like on this wall? If it were you in the sandwich, you wouldn't be laughing at all.
I love it. Yeah, I do know that one. That one's great. It's funny. We actually had a fish. We had that fish. It is somewhere in my parents' house still.
Excellent. Put the lime in the coconut and drink it all up.
Yep, I was gonna say that. There's another one.
Yeah, that's a song. Like, that's a jingle.
Yep.
Then there's the the Nokia jingle that is a plot point in Jurassic Park 3.
Oh yeah. That's right.
It's the dinosaur with the Nokia jingle. Great. It's like, where's that damn phone? Oh, I left it in the
you talk about product placement.
Yeah. It's just like, you can hear our phones in the stomach of a Spinosaurus hundreds of yards away.
And underwater.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, oh my god.
He's just swimming, and you just hear the jingle, and it's like, what? Wait, hold on.
That's like TikTok the Croc from Peter Pan.
The what?
TikTok the Croc from Peter Pan.
Yeah. Just always scared Hook. All he had to do was hear
the 8-bit version.
And then you look at like classical music. Because like a lot of people have said,
like Paco Bell's Canon.
Paco Bell. People will be looking at John Williams like we look at like Mozart.
Yeah.
So,
easy, hands down.
Because like you have those like pieces like the fugue in D minor and stuff, and like just these pieces of music you may not know the names of, but you absolutely know all of it. Like, you know what it sounds like, because like a lot of movies, like Kubrick was notorious for saying, I don't want to score because the best music's already been written. So I'm just going to use that. So there was one instance I remember, like every Halloween I would always create a playlist, and I would send it to like my mom and my brother. And there was one day where my brother was like taking a really like hot shower, and then the fugue in D minor hit like its crescendo where it was like da da da, and like he opened the door and like the steam like came rolling out, and he was like he was like this with the towel, and like he had his clothes on, and like he was Dracula or something. It was really funny.
Great.
But I'm just trying to think, because like you think of all these like TV shows theme songs, those are also like like, I do not care for Big Bang Theory or Friends, but I love the theme songs. Like,
you're welcome for that, by the way.
Yeah.
I know I'm the reason you're thinking about that.
Well, I mean, I'm also like looking at like the shows I do have, and then you have like the Scooby-Doo cartoons have had themes over the years. Not just the original.
It's a pup named Scooby-Doo.
Pup named Scooby-Doo. Like those. Oh. And then you get like the unnerving themes, like the Twilight Zone theme or the X-Files theme. Like, I cannot listen to the X-Files theme in an empty, dark house. I can't.
It's spooky.
And there's a reason for that, there are, which is also the reason certain places are haunted, whether believe that or not, is that the original Lavender Town theme has the same issue. There are tones emitted that we can't pick up consciously,
Yeah.
but our subconscious are hearing, and that are similar to like our fight or flight
Yeah.
responses. And so it's like, oh wow, I don't like this. So.
Yeah, there was a I don't know. I haven't tested it out, but apparently there's a like thing on TikTok going around that's like supposed to trigger your flight or fight, and people are playing it for their like 8-year-old kids and recording it on video and seeing what their reactions are. And it's just like, I don't know if I would do that, but good on ya. I mean,
it makes you think like what those people's parents did to them.
Right? It's like, you know what? I'm curious. It's what's going through their head. It's like, I wonder if something were to happen, what would my kid do? And so they're like, let's try and find out.
Okay, hold on. I got a tangent I want to go on.
Okay, go for it.
Because I've recently discovered JonTron.
Oh boy.
No.
It's been one of those things where like
Has it
Jeffrey
been a trip?
people told me, hey, JonTron is amazing. You need to go watch it. And I was like, nah. But I started with the obvious starting point with the Flex Seal family of products, and worked my way up from there.
Flex Seal.
But there's been a recent 2-part series that's been released on the channel about a early 2000s TV show called Kid Nation.
Yep.
I don't know how familiar you are. It looks like you are, Jeffrey.
I
watched
giving me deer in the headlights.
I am
remember
not
I
familiar.
remember, like, I wasn't watching Avatar. I was watching Kid Nation.
So apparently you can no longer find Kid Nation because of 2 separate lawsuits.
Oh no.
You can only find the first episode. But Matt, let me give you a brief synopsis.
Okay. Let's hear it.
There's a Wild West town that basically became abandoned due to poor leadership.
I've seen clips of this. I know what you're talking about now.
Okay, so
there's
40 kids.
Like the child labor laws and
8.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of shit. They had one porta potty, not even porta potty, outhouse for 40 children.
That's right.
And then after their first challenge, they have like a town council, which I don't know how they selected it. There was some arbitrary selection process. But their choice was either you get TV for like 2 hours, or you get 5 more outhouses. Because 40 children have been using one outhouse for 5 days before this challenge.
Yeah.
And then they created what JonTron lovingly dubs child feudalism, where based on competitions they have, they get put into either a worker class, a store owner class, or a town leadership class.
Oh my god.
And they create this feudalistic society where they work for the buffalo nickel, the all-important currency.
Oh my lord.
And
that has child labor.
Is like 6 or 7.
Yeah, that has child labor laws written all over it.
Well, apparently it was like published as a child acting gig, and that's how they recruited for it.
Oh.
And so all these parents just like dropped their kids off, and they're like, "Well, see ya."
Oh my god!
Well, they didn't even drop them off at the place the kids were being. They were dropped off like hours away from where the kids were.
What, like in a studio or something?
Yeah, and then they got bussed out into the middle of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
And they said the only intervention they got while they were out there, because JonTron brings on one of the contestants who was the youngest contestant on this game. It becomes a game show because they're all competing for this like star worth $20,000. But it's not revealed until later. But he's interviewing this kid, and the only thing that the producers did was they gave them a freshly cooked meal after a challenge, because the kids didn't have time to cook for themselves that one day, and they forced them to drink water to make sure they wouldn't collapse from dehydration.
Oh my lord!
And
Holy
they
cow.
had one John for 40 kids, and they had them sleep in abandoned buildings. And I think it was in New Mexico is where the series took place. So at night, it's literally freezing.
Yeah.
And they had them with like thick horse blankets.
Yeah.
Like one per kid, and a sleeping mat, like one of those inflatable like backpacking sleeping mats.
Holy crap.
And so the kids had to self-organize as like a village and do like these survivor type challenges. And they would hold a town hall every 5 days, and that's when they would allow kids to leave. Because they got there and they were like, all right, no one can leave until 5 days later.
Oh my god.
And they had like a ring of security people who were there to keep them all in the village and to keep what they said were dangerous animals out.
How did they get away with this?
You're like 2000, baby.
No. Dude, you gotta go watch the breakdown of it.
I was about to say that was probably during the pinnacle of reality TV, and oh god, that is.
I started watching Survivor.
It's pretty good.
I had never really watched it before.
I actually recently just had this revelation. I what I do just as a mental health thing is I monologue if I could speak to my younger self, but also as like a writer, I make it to where I can't like break time travel rules and stuff. And one of my things was like speaking to like either myself from like 7th grade to like junior year of high school, and one of the questions past self would ask me, saying just like, hey, how much of the media I'm consuming right now sticks? And I was like, practically none of it. Like, you would watch NCIS every week. You would watch Survivor every week. You would watch The Good Wife. I can't tell you a character's name in The Good Wife, but I watched it every week. And like NCIS LA, and then NCIS New Orleans, and like just like and like parts of it like I remember like Boston Rob and Yao Man from Survivor. But like
and Rupert.
My mom only recently got back onto the Survivor train because it's all available on Prime,
Amazon
I believe.
Prime. Yeah. That's where I've been watching it.
And it's
Russell.
so weird because like I'll be visiting her and she'll just have it on, and then there'll be like 1 30-second moment, and like it'll be like one of the people like in the night vision, and so their eyes are glowing, and then they'll be talking about like they'll say like some innocuous phrase like, I think the immunity idol is hidden behind the tree back near the bamboo, and I'll be like, great again, like oh my god. But I think like it's crazy how much of that stuff like we forget.
Yeah.
Like how much we just process out and pull it out and stuff.
Right.
Because it's just nuts. And like Kid Nation was one of that. Like when John Tron released his video, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. Wow. and like there's some nutso that like that's just the tip of the iceberg for like nutso reality shows.
Yeah, I've come up with I think what will be the pinnacle of reality TV. Like this is my idea. So you take Survivor, right?
I'm so excited to hear this.
Remaining, right? You take that, and then you take The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, and you merge the two together. Because if you think about it, they're not that different.
They're really
That's
not.
what Bachelor in Paradise was.
No, it's not. No,
not quite. No.
That's just a bunch of young people sitting on a beach fucking.
It's Bachelor in Paradise.
That's way different.
Bachelor in Paradise was all of the popular people that were on The Bachelor but didn't actually get anywhere with the show. They put them all into one area and were like, "Have fun."
They're rebooting Gossip Girl already.
Yeah, I saw something about that.
Zero interest.
This is my pinnacle of reality TV, because you have Survivor, right? Where people are cutthroat and ruthless, and even though they're on the same team, they have to think about who they're going to vote off, right? And they have to compete in challenges that test their physical limits and endurance under duress. And that's when you really see like the true nature of a person.
Oh yeah.
When they're tired, they're hungry, they have to compete, and everybody around them is their enemy. You know, that's where you strip away all the bullshit. That's
Right.
what you see. So you take that modality of being, where you get to see who's who, and now you take it and apply it to The Bachelor. Where everybody's fake as shit the entire time.
It's
Just
so
trying to
entertaining,
outdo
though.
and out-jockey the people who are like, oh, yeah, I've loved you ever since I first put my eyes on you. And none of it's true. They're just trying to make it to the next round, right? They're putting on a facade. So you strip all that away, and you still make them compete, right? And there's even the structure in place already in The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, where they have like the date roses, which are kind of like the immunity idols. The only thing that's different is who votes who off the show.
Huh.
Right? That would be the only thing to
Right.
surmount. And then you could get a really kick-ass show out of it.
What would you call it?
I don't know.
You get one word, because Survivor and Bachelor are both one word. You can't,
Sir Bachelor.
Bachelor.
No, Sir Bachelor.
Sir Bachelor. Isn't that like a Chrono Trigger boss or something?
It's possible.
I don't know.
Or Bachiver. Bachiver could be a decent name.
Bachiver.
Definitely think of a name, and then we'll pitch it to CBS.
Yeah. It's a golden show. In a world where reality TV is the most enjoyable thing right now.
I mean, Twitter is reality TV.
Literally.
It's that's all it is.
Yeah.
But
I've been tempted to make a Twitter purely just to eavesdrop on Elon Musk. Right? But I can't bring myself to do it because I know I'll end up getting sucked into something.
And his son Kyle.
You'll it's a weird world, Twitter, but it's where all the memes are freshest.
Yeah, I was gonna say Twitter memes they're solid.
That's where you get the update. But the problem is they're not curated. Like Reddit has fresh memes that are curated. Reddit is like the farmer's market, where Twitter is like you're literally like breaking into a farm and just stealing what you can.
You're foraging.
Dude,
foraging for memes.
Reddit is
and then like Facebook is like Costco, and then Tumblr is like IGA, Publix, you know.
Oh, Facebook is Walmart at 2 a.m.
Facebook is like the boomer memes now. It's the Karen memes.
Yeah, that's fair. Or politics. Facebook is littered with politics.
Yeah. Tribes about politics.
I think we talked a lot about scores, and I'd like to touch on some of the soundtracks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to jump in on this because I got kind of cut off for my introduction to music.
Oh no.
Thing where
Who did that?
I'm sorry.
My 2 minutes were up real quick. So, so I'm a big fan of the Tarantino films and Coen Brothers movies.
Yes,
and those have,
as we talked about last week.
Yes, and so a lot of the songs that I listen to now, I found from like Pulp Fiction or The Big Lebowski.
Oh, brother, we're out there has a
The Big
killer.
Lebowski has the Gypsy Kings cover of Hotel California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's where it hit mainstream popularity because that in the scene where they're in the bowling alley and Jesus is doing the thing with the bowling ball. That's the song that's playing.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it's from in media. I'm sure it's been other places, obviously, but that's where I discovered it.
Yeah, it's like the
even the joke in that movie about Lebowski gets his car stolen and he's got his Creedence CDs, and that's all he's concerned about. Every single car I've ever driven, I have a Creedence Clearwater Revival Greatest Hits album. I put in that CD player.
Nice. Yeah, some of kind of this. I know I mentioned it last week. I don't think I ever really talked about it, but when we were talking about the Coen brothers and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, never seen the movie. Yeah. It's one of those. I actually have never seen the movie. I said that last week. We won't go into any of that again. But
check us out on Apple, Spotify, podcasts, maybe YouTube. So watch the
movie. But the soundtrack is something that I actually have several songs. Now I've never listened to the full soundtrack like top to bottom, but there are several songs in there that I have in my phone that I listen to on a regular basis. And I've done that for several different films, shows, just media in general, games. As I mentioned, that's more score, but like with Bear McCreary in the God of War games, I've never played that game. I've never touched a God of War game, but I've listened to that soundtrack many times. Same with a good example, the Castlevania Netflix show. Great, soundtrack and score, whatever you want to call it.
Are y'all cut up on that?
It's another one. I've never seen it.
Okay.
I know it's right up my alley, and I know it's something I would absolutely love, but I just haven't. I just haven't delved into it. But I've listened to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is freaking incredible. I love it. I love listening to a lot of instrumental stuff. Depending on what I'm doing, a lot of inspiration for my creativity gets drawn from instrumental music. I can't answer why, but it just does. So whenever I'm feeling particularly either bored or just like I want to do something, I'll just listen to some instrumental music just from different sources. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just on Spotify, they have song radios. Like if you like a specific song, you can just go to that song and it'll play a radio. And it'll play random stuff that are similar to the song that you picked to go to that radio. And I'll listen to all sorts of stuff on there and be like, oh, that was cool. And then I'll end up with this weird playlist that's pulling from all sorts of different areas from different soundtracks. And that's for all sorts of stuff. Now, some of my favorite soundtracks, easily Hercules, Disney, absolutely one of my favorite Disney films. Nightmare Before Christmas is another one of. I could watch that movie any day of the week and be perfectly happy with it.
I can't stand that movie.
I'm
sorry. That's unpopular opinions.
What is wrong with you?
I cannot watch that movie.
It's fine. It's fine.
And backwards, every lyric,
every cover. It creeps me the fuck out.
Oh, okay.
I don't really like Tim Burton.
You don't like claymation. You don't like stop motion stuff, then, do you?
No, I know, because I can watch Wallace and Gromit all day.
Okay, so
it's not just claymation. I just don't like Tim Burton movies.
Okay.
Corpse Bride, it was watchable for me, but I just not a fan.
Okay, yeah, it's funny because Abby is the same way. She is not a fan of Abby's just not a fan of stop motion. Kind of on the stop motion topic, have you seen Coraline?
No, it's just another movie I saw, and I was like, I will not.
That's actually like even now you watch and it's like, man, this is fucking creepy.
I read the book in one day and then tweeted at Neil Gaiman that day and said like, hey, Coraline still stands up, and he was like, good.
So wait, Coraline is Neil Gaiman?
Yeah.
Holy, how did I never know that? Yeah. The same fucking dude that wrote Sandman?
Sandman, American God.
Are you serious? Kind of on a Neil Gaiman topic.
Is amazing.
Yeah, I know this is kind of a side tangent, but Neil Gaiman got me excited for it. Audible is doing a Sandman original.
Yes, I did see that. The cast looks really, really cool.
Yeah, it's got like Taron Egerton in it. It's got who else?
James McAvoy.
Yes, James McAvoy. It had the cast looked incredible.
Haley Steinfeld as well, I think.
Maybe, and then Neil Gaiman Neil Gaiman himself is the narrator. And I am so excited. I'm going to subscribe to that thing so fast.
Along those same lines, what was it? Good Omens or Bad Omens?
Yeah, Good Omens. Also, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett.
Golly.
And then, what was the other?
That's a combo right there.
Yeah.
Good
Lord.
That was that. Oh shoot, there was another one that you talking about. The Sandman. Oh, Lucifer. The show Lucifer. Is based on his comic books as well. Constantine. Well, not all him, but he did a lot of Constantine stuff. It was also a lot of Alan Moore. There's just a lot of...
Dang. I mean, Neil Gaiman, for anyone listening, Neil Gaiman, any of his stuff, read it, watch it, adaptations.
Yeah, I will say, though, I got kind of pissed
Phenomenal.
as I was playing God of War.
Uh-huh.
Because I had read his collection of Norse myths prior to playing that, and it's set in the Norse universe. So the ending was spoiled for me. Because it closely follows the traditional Norse myths.
Gotcha.
They just throw Kratos in there.
Right. That's really fascinating.
I think it was before we hop back, because I've got some soundtrack stuff I want to like.
Yeah.
But I think it was either Neil Gaiman or Alan Moore. They talked about how they went to a London pub and they were like, it was just like a smoky hole in the wall, and they looked, and in the back of the room they said like they swear there's like Constantine was in the back of the room and he smiled, and they immediately got the hell out of there because they were like, whatever's making Constantine smile is going to be the end of me, and I want nothing to do with it. So that's a neat little fun fact.
That's kind of spooky.
Yeah. But the thing I absolutely adore about late 90s to early 2000s soundtracks is that if you were popular at all, you had your own soundtrack. Obviously I think the pinnacle of this was the Pokemon the First Movie soundtrack.
Oh, so good.
Which had tracks by Vitamin C, Britney Spears, NSYNC, Billy Piper, who would go on to play Rose Tyler on Doctor Who, like all that kind of stuff. But then it started like devolving to where there would be soundtracks released for like other Pokemon soundtracks or Yu-Gi-Oh or Rugrats, Scooby-Doo, where you get a couple of like really good key songs, and then you'd have a lot of in-world songs, like one of my least favorite Pokemon songs is called Misty's Song, and it's it's Misty singing a love song to Ash, except it's awful. It's bad.
That sounds terrible.
Like, I love Misty and I love Ash, and I love them together, but like, it's bad. But the worst one I've found so far is on the Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost soundtrack, where Velma is singing about her love for Tim Curry's character, Ben Ravencroft.
Oh, I totally forgot about that scene.
Refrain, so it just repeats over and over. But there are also a lot of really good songs, because like if you look at Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Terror Time is an amazing villain song, like where the zombies are coming out the first time. And then you've gotten Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, the Hex Girls, which are my favorite fictional band.
They're great. They're fantastic.
But I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about like where the cross became where pop songs and original songs kind of melded and split apart again. And I'm gonna have to say it was Shrek.
Yeah,
probably.
Talks about Shrek 2 and Shrek 3 soundtracks.
Yep.
The first time I ever heard Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin was in Shrek 3.
I Need a Hero. I Need a Hero, Shrek 2.
Yeah.
I need a hero!
And then, of course, there was I'm a Believer in the first Shrek movie.
Yep.
And it's just, it's crazy how, like, because, like, it was funny, because, like, when I saw Thor Ragnarok, like, that song features really prominently in the beginning and end of Thor Ragnarok, the song. And so when that song started playing with the I thought of Snow White like turning her arms up and the birds coming down. And like my dad had to explain that joke to me because he loved that joke. He was like, that was a really funny, like, it's not what my dad sounds like, but I try to think of a tall voice, and like that's the first thing that came in. But the point is, like, it's so weird because like you look at the original Digimon movie, the American translation, which was like technically 2 Digimon movies, like stitched together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Believer's in that.
Yep.
What like any popular '90s song is in that.
All the kids in America.
Yeah.
Was another one. But
and then how about the 2006 Pixar hit Cars, reinvigorating Rascal Flatts' career that had been dead for 15 years?
Yeah.
Like I was blown away when I learned that Life is a Highway was not written for Cars.
Nope.
Like,
it is a cover. It is a cover of a
songs.
I
had already heard from my dad. So like my dad had like a couple Rascal Flatts albums he would play in the car like before that came out.
Yeah. Because that was I think it was a rock band in like the 80s that wrote it.
But
I could be super wrong on that, but I know it was like originally a rock song. I do know that. I just don't remember if it was 80s or 90s.
The Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, which I personally like more than the George Romero Dawn of the Dead, has like The Man Comes Around from Johnny Cash's like last album.
Wait, there are 2 Dawn of the Deads?
Oh yeah, the second one rocks. Like it's awesome. It has like Ving Rhames and Ty Burrell in it.
Which one has the scene with the golf on top of the roof?
They both have that scene.
Fuck.
Sorry. But that Dawn of the Dead also had what's his name? The Come On, Get Up, Get Down, Motherfucker. What
I don't know.
Get Down with the Sickness. That cover of Get Down with the Sickness. That's like old jazz.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
Then like Johnny Cash's Hurt is a cover of 9 Inch Nails, and Johnny Cash also covered Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode, and it's like it's
yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird because like it's him, like it's like he's like Johnny Cash is dying as he's making this album. Like his wife is dead. He was in the middle of making an album. He was like, I'm gonna finish the album and I'm gonna die, and that's what he did. Like he finished the album and then died. And then what was it? I think like Justin Timberlake won for Best Album that year, and in his acceptance speech, because like Johnny Cash was nominated posthumously, Justin Timberlake was like, I do not deserve this Grammy. Johnny Cash deserves this Grammy. So I'm just going to say this is Johnny Cash's Grammy.
That's really funny. That's really I'll say Justin Timberlake seems like a solid fellow. Like he actually seems like a really nice guy. Yeah.
Oh, Clue, the comedy Clue. What's the song that Life Could Be a Dream? Shaboom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that song like features
Cars.
Features really prominently, you know, and it's like because I'm like looking at my movie shelf right now and I'm like zeroing in on movies, and it's like, oh yeah, like Labyrinth has a lot of original Bowie hits.
Yeah,
and it's Muppets,
I was gonna say huge.
Like, they're all great.
Yeah, lot of Bowie and Labyrinth.
I was actually introduced to my favorite song of all time, "Tainted Love" by Soft Cell, by the second episode of the Doctor Who revival.
Oh, neat!
Because there's a joke where the last human says like, "I have an ancient Earth relic." They called it an iPod, and they just roll out a jukebox, and "Tainted Love" starts playing, and and then like during the action sequence, they start playing "Toxic" by Britney Spears, and it's like very 2005. It's very 2005. But like it's just you just look at like the movie. You look at like the movies with score like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter that all have like the instrumental stuff.
Absolutely fantastic.
And then you look at James Bond, where literally every movie has a pop song written about it.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. You know.
Yeah. I love that. Adele doing Skyfall.
Or Billie Eilish, you know, with the new one.
The guy rocks. It fucking kicks ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard it.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, she's the youngest artist ever to do a Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's minor tangent. Have you seen the video Billie Eilish did with Rainn Wilson?
Yes.
With who?
She's like the world's
White
biggest The Office fan.
With rain. Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I have seen that. It's
love
really
that.
funny.
I definitely recommend No Time to Die because I think one of my favorite parts about it is that it samples like the James Bond sting, like that's in all the movies. The ba-na-na, like it samples it really well, really creepily.
Okay.
Like Live and Let Live, like that song.
Yeah.
Like Live and, it's a Bond song.
Yeah.
But like it, I don't know. There's a lot.
Isn't it Live and Let Die?
I've never
I think
seen a Bond movie.
I've seen 2.
It's 2 more than I've seen.
Dr. No and Casino Royale. I have all of them. Because of course I do. I own every single James Bond movie that's been released.
That's fun.
And
we need to have a Bond watch day.
That would kick ass. We need to finally have the Mad Max watch day. I've had all 4 of those movies for like half a decade at this point. We still haven't gotten together for that.
Transition from 1 to 2 is really jarring.
Well, that's the thing. You know what's nuts about those movies? I was talking to my dad about it because my dad is a big Tina Turner fan, and she's like major in Thunderdome. And like my dad was like, well, one, those movies were actually written not to be necessarily sequels so much as they are the same character in the same world at different points in different universes, which is why the 4th one has no connection. But it's weird because George Miller wrote and directed the first one, second one, third one, did some other movies, wrote and directed Happy Feet 1 and 2, and then did the 4th Mad Max movie.
There are some really anti-religious themes in the Happy Feet franchise. If you've seen that breakdown,
I think I ever thought I was ever. Wow.
I feel like that's a good note to end on.
We'll follow that up next week.
Yeah,
we will.
We'll all watch Happy Feet 1 and 2.
Yeah,
just one.
But
okay.
But yeah,
guys,
would you agree? Is this a good stopping point? We've been at it for a couple hours.
Leave them wanting more.
Exactly. Yeah. You
just, there's a lot of religious themes in Happy Feet. Check us out next week.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Stitcher, Podcast Addict. Google Podcasts.
If we aren't on YouTube, we will be soon.
Yeah, we're working on YouTube. But give us a review, preferably 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and just go ahead and subscribe because you know you're going to be wanting more. Yeah, especially
if you
in-depth
use
breakdown
the
of the
coupon code Audible/Acquaintances Podcast. If something happens, let us know because it ain't us. We need that coupon for the Sandman series.
Right? Yeah.
Currently, we're looking for sponsors. So Audible, please, please Audible.
We can only ask so nicely.
And then we'll start demanding.
All right. Oh god, we'll see y'all next week.